Ladies and gentlemen, the following segment of the podcast is presented exclusively by the Heritage Foundation. For 52 years, Heritage has fought tirelessly for America's founding principles and advancing conservative public policies. Much more than a think tank, Heritage is a conservative policy powerhouse, fighting for the everyday American to advance common sense policies and dismantle the D.C. bureaucracy. Our founding fathers gave us an extraordinary system of government, and the Heritage Foundation is dedicated to defending the heritage and carrying on their legacy for future generations. So get involved by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda by visiting heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mike Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. You know, years ago, there was some group, I forget their name, that used to give an award to the dumbest senator every year. This poor guy from, I think it was Virginia. I could be dead wrong. He used to win it every year. I know his name, but I don't want to say it because I'm sure he's passed and his family deserve better than that. But that said, I think I'm going to start that practice right here and right now. But I'll change it a little bit. The dumbest Republican senator. So I want to give out the trophy to the dumbest Republican senator. His name is Roger Marshall from the state of Kansas. 99.9% of you, especially if you're not from Kansas, have never heard of the man. But he's obviously a very dumb man. And I want to play this for you. This was today, right, Mr. Producer? At a Senate hearing on anti-Semitism. Here's Roger Marshall questioning Dr. Charles Small, founding director and president of the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy. I don't know him, I've never heard of him, but nonetheless, there he is. So let's listen. Listen in, and I will explain why I have given him the 2025 dumbest Republican in the United States Senate award. Cut 4, go.
Dr. Small, what was Qatar's role in the hostage release of Americans?
It's a good question. I'm not an expert at that level, but I know that the Qataris certainly were funding Hamas. They have very good relations.
Okay, that's not my question.
Okay, let's stop right there. Notice how he cuts him off like a liberal. I don't know, Senator, what was the Qataris' role in October 7th in the taking of the hostages? You really are a sleazeball. This guy, Roger Marshall. Go ahead.
Responsible for the freeing of American hostages and many others. Dr. Small, what was Qatar's role in the evacuation of Afghanistan, and especially how did it impact America?
The Qatari regime has good relations with the Taliban, with the Iranian revolutionary regime. And
it's interesting,
Hamas.
just the prejudice that I hear coming out of your mouth.
Okay, so stop, ladies and gentlemen. Qatar's funding terrorism all over the world. They've been funding, and it's not just me. The money's been traced by all kinds of experts and so forth who actually believe in this country, our country. They've been funding Hamas. They are allied with Iran and the Taliban. He doesn't want you to know that, so he's cutting this guy off and he's mistreating him. They work very, very closely with these terrorist regimes. They're pouring God knows how much money into our country. So this guy is now a propagandist. Let's be clear, Kansas. Roger Marshall is a propagandist for Qatar. And look, a-hole, big-time Mr. Senator, who's cutting off your witness and bullying him. You want to come on this show? Drag your ass onto this show. I'm more than happy to talk to you. I'm sick of these arrogant you-know-whats. Sitting there like a liberal, cutting off this gentleman. You're not answering my question. He's not giving you the answer you want, you schmuck. That's your problem. Go ahead.
Qatar was so important. Of the 120,000 people evacuated from Afghanistan in our moment of need, Qatar stood beside us. And of the 120,000 removed,
okay, ladies and gentlemen, this guy is bad dude. In our moment of need, Qatar coordinated with, supported the Taliban, then we're removing people. Qatar agrees that we can land our planes in Qatar on a base that we built and we lease, the biggest military base in the Middle East. Qatar funds Hamas, which takes our people hostage, that is Americans, as well as Israelis, and then Qatar steps into the void and acts as a negotiator, a moderator to help us. And then when it falls through, they blame the Israelis and talk nice about Hamas. They're working with Iran. Al Jazeera is a propaganda newspaper owned by the inbreds who run Qatar. And in fact, there are other Arab countries, the UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, they want nothing to do with Qatar and Al Jazeera. So here you have a guy who's out front thanking the Qataris. And this is what Qatar does. And they obviously have one of their boys in the United States Senate here, Roger Marshall of Kansas, who doesn't want to hear what this gentleman is trying to say. Well, if that's the way it is, Roger Marshall, then why don't you just run back and forth between inquisitor and witness? You can take both sides of the same argument. Heads I win, tails you lose, right? What kind of a joke are you? Go ahead.
Came through Qatar. Without Qatar, we would have had thousands more deaths as well. So I don't know why you won't answer that question. I want to think about just a little bit more objective here. I'm going to say this century, in the past decade or so.
He sounds dumb to me. Sounds like a dumb guy. I want to sound a little more objective here. What the hell is he even talking about? Go ahead.
$5 billion to the educational institutions of America. And a vast majority of that, probably 80%, is setting up universities in Qatar, whether it's Texas A&M and
Hey,
engineering.
Marshall, here's part of the problem, and this has come out of your own body and other places. We don't know exactly what Qatar's spending. It's more than $5 billion. We do know that. I've done programs on this and have pulled the records ourselves as well as others have. And what are they doing? What are they doing with their money? They're spreading anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism. And here we have a senator from Kansas, of all places, who's a special pleader for Qatar. Go ahead.
And medicine, a vast amount of that money is research-oriented as well. Qatar's been a great ally to America, so I don't know why you're attacking them. And
hey, pal, we're telling you why we're attacking them, you schmuck. You sound like a buffoon. A complete jerk. Attacking them, it's called exposing them. Tell us, Senator, why were 5 of the billionaires who run Hamas given protection by Qatar? Can you answer that? Why was Hamas given over $1.8 million over the years? By far, Qatar was the biggest provider of funds to Hamas. How do you explain that, Senator? How do you explain the money going to all these colleges and universities in our own country? I've laid this out, chapter and verse. How do you explain that? Oh, they're just funding medical research, America. Medical research? You know, like the Communist Chinese and the Confucius Institutes. They're just funding medical research. So this guy, who's like the Tokyo Rose of our time, this guy is telling you all the things Qatar, where you can find them on the positive side, has bought with their money. Well, on the other side, they're literally funding terrorism. Literally. And he's excusing them. A Republican. The dumbest Republican senator of 2025, maybe of all time. Go ahead.
Compare, so China's given over $3 billion, the Saudis $1.5 billion, UK $1 billion, Germany over $1 billion.
You comparing Qatar to the UK and Germany? Are you serious? So this is a propagandist. He's a demagogue. He's running interference for a country that funds terrorism and plays Americans and plays us. Go ahead.
Be attacking them as well. And I want you to,
why are we attacking them as well? We are. Communist China? What are you talking about, moron? But why would we attack Great Britain and Germany? Does this guy sit on like the Foreign Relations Committee or something? Does he not know the difference between an ally and an enemy? Or at least an adversary? Good God, is he stupid. Go ahead.
Question. 2 universities, heavily funded by Qatar.
Hey, pal, you got a witness there. He's got a lot of knowledge. I don't know the man, but I can tell he's intelligent. You ask him a couple questions, and you shut him off. Go ahead.
And VCU, were there any large anti-Semitic riots or protests there?
So look, this is a very important issue, and I would say...
So were there any anti-Semitic riots?
Wow, you see what I mean, Rich? Won't let him talk. He's an embarrassment, a humiliation to himself in the United States Senate. He's the Rashida Tlaib of the Republican senators. Yes, he is. Tough guy. You want to come on, tough guy? Contact my producer, have your comms person do it. Come on, tough guy. Let's do it. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our founding fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. See, in this form, this senator wouldn't be able to cut me off. Counter-extremism project. And there's so many reports. Qatar, a longtime U.S. ally, member of the global coalition to counter ISIS, has supported and harbored international terrorist organizations and individuals. And they have footnote after footnote after footnote after footnote backing up their allegations. The hydrocarbon-rich Gulf country sends direct financial material support to internationally designated terrorist groups, such as Hamas and the Nusra Front, and knowingly permits internationally designated or wanted terrorist leaders and financiers to operate within its borders. The Qatari government has lent support to Al-Qaeda. Maybe Mr. Marshall's heard of them. In the Arabian Peninsula, Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Nusra Front, the Taliban, including through direct money loans, ransom payments, and supply transfers. Qatar has been harboring, or at least 13 sanctioned designated or wanted individuals, including former Hamas leader Khaled Mishal, current Hamas leader, some of these people are dead now, Muslim Brotherhood ideologue Yusuf al-Akwari, 3 UN-sanctioned Taliban operatives, and at least 7 al-Qaeda financiers. Although these individuals have been publicly sanctioned by the United States and the UN, or subject to Interpol arrest warrants, they are able to live with impunity, and in many cases luxury, within Qatar. And they go through it, piece by piece by piece by piece. Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, loaded with footnotes and explanations. The Taliban, financial institutions that they're involved in, these banks, the Doha Bank that's involved in funding terrorism, Qatar National Bank, charitable front groups. It goes on, the list goes on. This isn't the only one. Now, he mentions 2 schools that Qatar is funding in the United States. Qatar is funding scores of colleges and universities. As a matter of fact, over 100, including some of the places where the anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism is at its worst. They're involved in funding front organizations, terrorist front organizations in our own country. Now, he doesn't have to look far to find this out. The Senate Intelligence Committee could educate him. The Georgetown's terrorism project can educate him. Many of these projects can educate him. Memory.org, MEMRI, they could educate him. The Counter-Extremism Project can educate him. This is no joke. This is no neocon deal. They're funding our enemies. And here you have a Republican senator from Kansas who's lambasting an individual who's there, at least the claim is, to discuss anti-Semitism, and he jumps right to the defense of Qatar. I've told you before, and I don't know about this senator and his connection. If he would come on, I would certainly pursue it. But that said, Qatar owns a lot of politicians, current and former, a lot of law firms. They have provided monies to and gone to business with a lot of business people who are in and out of politics. They've spent their money wisely. But it's blood money. It's money that they have used to prop up all these terrorist organizations. They're in an alliance with Iran, for God's sakes. I'm surprised he didn't mention that they gave $5 million to the new Medal of Honor Museum. They do these things because they're propagandists. They want the West to believe, and the West believe, look, we have a Republican senator who's rude, who's a bully, who's cutting off a witness. I don't know why you're criticizing Qatar. You don't know why he's criticizing Qatar? How stupid is this guy? Hence, Roger Marshall, Republican of Kansas. He gets the stupidest Republican Senator Award for 2025. What a schmuck. I'll be right back. Folks, I need to talk to you about something crucial to the future of America. Our friends at the Heritage Foundation are on the front lines fighting for our conservative values. Heritage is dedicated to promoting policies that will help bolster our economy, protect our borders, and uphold the rule of law. They're working tirelessly to defend our Constitution and the principles that make America exceptional. To help accomplish this, they need you to complete their national survey on President Trump's agenda today. So you can participate in this survey by going to heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Your responses are crucial to this survey, and they'll provide Heritage leadership with crucial feedback as they work closely with the folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. By completing this very important survey today, you're standing up for the values that have made this country great. And my friends at Heritage need you to act now to maximize their impact on President Trump's first 100 days. So please don't wait. Our future depends on you. Together, we can make a difference, and future generations inherit a nation that is free, prosperous, and strong. So please, right now, visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin, complete your survey, and join the fight for America's future. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
Mark Levin, radio's hell-raising intellectual. Call now, 877-381-3811.
Yep. Pretty amazing. The United States Senator, Republican. It's interesting. I'm reading here, ask any of the Gulf Arab nations, United Arab Emirates, the real ally, Bahrain, an ally, ask Saudi Arabia, Egypt, ask Jordan about Qatar. Qatar funds terrorism in the region and throughout the globe. That's the truth. State-run Qatari mosques hosted extremist speakers, religious leaders, jihadis, and they've supported every terrorist group that has and has tried to attack the United States of America. Isn't that amazing? Last time I checked, the Taliban's the enemy. They've subsidized the Taliban. They've subsidized Hamas. They've subsidized the Hitler Youth that's parading around our country. I don't know why you don't like them. I don't know why this is a problem. The Center for Strategic and International Studies labeled Qatar a safe haven for religious extremists expelled by other countries. They cited Qatar's history providing refuge to Palestinian, Sudanese, Algerian terrorists. Qatar reportedly gave refuge to Saudi militants that had taken over the Grand Mosque in Mecca. It's also hosted members of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, according to military affairs periodical Janes, which is a fantastic publication. Qatar in the 1980s was the waypoint for senior Salafist terrorists transiting to or from Afghanistan, utilizing the homes of Qatari nobles as safe houses. Oh, why do you keep criticizing them? Let's see. On June 5, 2017, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates severed diplomatic ties with Qatar over Qatar's support for terrorism. The nations also barred Qatari citizens, closed all of their borders to Qatar. According to the Saudi press, the kingdom broke ties with Qatar to protect its national security from the dangers of terrorism and extremism. I mean, that's Saudi Arabia. The Saudis cited Qatari support of Iranian-backed militias in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, as well as alleged Qatari support for the Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS. What do you think of that? Is that okay? Those are Arab countries that have rejected Qatar. Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, Hamas. I mean, these are the all-stars of terrorism. In fact, it said that Qatar funds more terrorism around the world than Iran. And there have been international terrorism lawsuits brought against Qatar, lawsuits brought in the United States of America against Qatar. They're all out there for anybody to read. You could read the Arab News, Washington Free Beacon, Washington Post, Al Monitor, Arabian Business Network, and on and on and on. Qatar was reportedly on alert for an ISIS attack following attacks on Shiite mosques in Saudi Arabia in 2015. July 2014, ISIS reportedly threatened to attack Qatar if International Soccer Organization did not relocate. So what did they do? They bought off ISIS. Or at least that was their effort. Taliban officials have had increasing presence in Qatar, at least since 2010. Their families and high-level officials have reportedly removed to the country. I mean, it's like the Star Wars bar scene of terrorists. Qatar's forged an alliance with Iran, which has led to alleged cooperation with the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Fox News report claimed Qatar had advanced knowledge of an Iranian attack on 4 commercial, and it goes on and on and on. Foreign fighters that they fund. And so we have a guy, a Republican from Kansas, who can't understand why a gentleman they invited to talk about anti-Semitism brings up Qatar and keeps cutting him off. Because it's an obnoxious SOB. You're right, Your Honor. I mean, what do we call senators? You look at the George Washington University Project on Extremism. There's so many of them. You can look at one group after another. That's Fox. You know, I did an entire show on this on Fox about a month ago. I'm just telling you, America, it's you and me, we the people, against this ruling class, Republicans and Democrats, that have sold out our country and sold us out. I don't know about the senator. If he does come on, I will certainly grill him on this, but that's beside the point. Qatar has many friends in this country, and most of them are in the ruling class, not we the people. Have you noticed that too, Mr. Producer? Most of them are in the ruling class. Most of them are the beautiful people. Most of them are businessmen that have business deals with this country. They, and not they alone, there are other enemy countries involved in this, are destroying our colleges and universities. It's very, very important that the Department of Justice, and the Department of Homeland Security, and the Treasury Department trace these dollars. A lot of this has already been done, but it's very important that they use the power of subpoenas and so forth to trace the dollars. Because it's destroying our universities and colleges. They're indoctrinating our children to hate the United States, to hate the West. These are not Muslims per se. They're Islamists. They're even worse. They're jihadists. See what I'm saying? They're jihadists. Terrorists. So they'll stand there, one of them does, in a suit, big smile on his face, give $5 million to the Medal of Honor Museum. Shh, don't criticize them. Look what they're doing. They're doing such wonderful things. How do we know? Roger Marshall's telling us all the wonderful things they've done. So why didn't Marshall bring up any of the other stuff that I just brought up? It's available. Go on the internet. Can't believe what's on the internet. They're citing reports with endnotes and footnotes. Perfectly legitimate. They're not kooks or bloggers or anything else. These are legitimate institutions that work on this stuff morning, noon, and night. So the question is, why did Roger Marshall, Republican senator from the great state of Kansas, during the course of this hearing, choose not to bring up the zillion examples of Qatar funding terrorism, terrorist organizations, and terrorist states that are our enemy, that have killed American citizens. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? I mean, in addition to being a low IQ schmuck, why did he do it? Which is why he gets the 2025 Dumbest Senator Award. Dumbest Republican Senator Award. Now, this is well earned. I mean, there's a lot of competition. But in the end, it wasn't close. In the end, it wasn't even close. Man, oh man, sick. Absolutely sick. And this guy has access to whatever he wants. He's got staff running around for him, getting him lunch, getting him water, whatever he wants. Wiping his butt, who the hell knows? But he can get all this information. It's available out there. And he didn't want to hear what this fellow had to say. He didn't want to hear what Dr. Charles Small had to say. That's not my question. I'll answer the question for you. So the Qataris were vastly responsible for the freeing of American hostages and many others. Dr. Small, what was Qatar's role in the evacuation of Afghanistan, and especially how did it impact America? Oh, I don't know, Senator. Why don't you tell the whole story? How much money did they use to subsidize the Taliban? And how much of that money went to killing and maiming American soldiers? You dumb moron. How much? Oh, and they helped get hostages out from Hamas. They funded Hamas. Roger Marshall. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our Founding Fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. If I were Roger Marshall, I wouldn't want this gentleman to speak either, because he doesn't want the nation to hear what the man had to say. I will continue to say this till they put dirt on me. This idea that America first is to support terrorist regimes that fund Hamas, that fund the Taliban, that fund the Hitler Youth in our streets, is not America first. It's not MAGA. It's not Trump. This is a complete perversion of who we are as conservatives, constitutionalists, and Republicans. A complete perversion. And we will fight this. Because this is the view, and used to be the view, of the hardcore radical leftists. The Marxists. They sound like Marxists. And they're giving aid and comfort to the Marxist Islamist fusion that's taking place, not just in our country and our universities, but all over the world. And so we will fight them. I will fight them if I'm the only one to do it, and I won't be. Because you, the American people, you're patriotic, you love your country, you know a terrorist when you see one, you know good from evil, you know liberty and tyranny, you know the whole thing. I don't care that he served in the military. That doesn't mean anything to me when you're a United States senator and you're doing the kind of stuff you're doing now. Congratulations for serving in the military. Now you're a disgrace. You're a moron. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. In my entire life, as a constitutional conservative, from the age of 13, and now I'm 67, involved in the Reagan Revolution, in the Tea Party movement, a strong advocate of President Trump. And all the things I've read, all the things I've written, all the people I've talked to, millions and millions of you, I never thought I would see the day when we have elected senior officials in the Republican Party like Roger Marshall defending, hence giving aid and comfort to countries that spend billions on terrorism aimed against us. And they're so blinded. They're so moronic. Fundamentally, they're so stupid that when Qatar uses its money to market itself to the West as being Western with one hand and then uses its money with the other hand to fund the individuals that want to overthrow our country, the idea that senior elected and public officials, many of whom are Republican, don't see it is frightening. Is frightening. Or even worse, they don't want to hear about it. You have a hearing, a guy's trying to talk, he keeps cutting him off. He keeps cutting him off like an obnoxious liberal. In fact, I'll ask you folks a question. You Levinites out there, millions and millions of you, I will ask you this question. How many radio hosts, how many TV hosts go on the air behind microphones or behind cameras and condemn Qatar? How many? Count them on one hand, I think. How many bring to you, whether it's behind a microphone or in front of a television camera, fact after fact, evidence after evidence, proving that they're funding the enemy, while at the same time, they're buying professional sports teams, they're contributing to the Medal of Honor Museum, they're doing things of that sort to cover their tracks. You see these shows, these commercials, Tunnel to Towers, Wounded Warriors, you see what's happened to these men and these women? In Afghanistan, in Iraq. The Taliban have done it. Iran has done it. Islamist terrorists, jihadists have done it. I just told you Qatar is the biggest funder of terrorism in the world. It's not even Iran, it's Qatar. How many of those wonderful Americans, it brings tears to your eyes to see these commercials. How many of you donate to these fantastic charities to help them? And you have a United States Republican senator defending the leading funder of terrorism, Qatar, and then spewing their propaganda of what they've spent in the West? Sad. It's pathetic. And then he claims to be an American firster. Not an American firster, you're a schmuck. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mike Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. The Democrats are trying to take out Pete Hegseth right now. on this text issue. You should have known better than to reveal that information over the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Signal. Signal is generally regarded as the safest way to have these discussions other than one-on-one in a skiff. And unfortunately, when you have 13 individuals with different departments and responsibilities, or in different parts of not just Washington, D.C., but perhaps the country, and you're updating them on what you're about to do, can't always meet in the same telephone booth, can you? You don't do it in your own life, and obviously it can't be done this way either. I guarantee you that Signal is used by Democrat senators, Democrat House members, the former regime, the Democrat regime, the Biden regime. It's used by media, used by judges. So the Democrats want Hegseth's head. Now, stick with me. The Soros, Koch, anti-American, pro-enemy Republicans who've never met an enemy who they didn't embrace against the United States, whether it's Russia, Iran, Qatar, even China. They want to take out Waltz. So the Democrats want to take out Hegseth, and the enemy within the Republican / conservative / MAGA movement, they want to take out Waltz. Now, let me be clear about something. In the end, it's Trump who they want. I remember many years ago, actually, it was 1988, the summer of 1988. And my boss, Attorney General Meese, who was the closest confidant in the government to Ronald Reagan, going all the way back to Sacramento. Wonderful man. He's still a wonderful man. He decided he was going to resign. He was under attack by the Democrats. And I said to him, why are you resigning? You didn't do anything wrong. But this was going on all summer long. And to show you what a great, ethical, and honorable man he is, he said, because I don't want to hurt the presidential campaign of George H.W. Bush. They had become quite friendly during the course of the Reagan administration. George H.W. Bush was always very, very kind to Ed Meese. And he reciprocated. He was always kind to everybody, and is, but he reciprocated. And he didn't want to harm his campaign. So he gave the word to the president, and the president and the first lady wanted Ed and Ursula Meese to come to the Oval Office to say goodbye. To my great honor, the Attorney General also invited 4 or 5 people who worked with him, including me as his chief of staff. And so we went there, and the Vice President, George H.W. Bush, joined the President, Mrs. Reagan. Other cabinet secretaries had come in too. James Baker, others, John Harrington. Can't remember them all. And President Reagan, who really adored the Mises and knew how much they had suffered in Washington, D.C. Meese was a prime everyday target of the lawfare machinery of the Independent Counsel Act. They tried to destroy his reputation. He had 2 independent counsel investigating him at the same time. He was the primary force that uncovered what took place in the so-called Iran-Contra matter. If they were trying to accuse him of a cover-up, he just couldn't. He just couldn't. Nothing he said or could do could shake the barbarians. He didn't resign for himself. He resigned because he didn't want to hurt Bush 41 and his presidential chances. And I'll never forget. President Reagan turned to Ed Meese. I was standing right there. And said, Ed and Ursula, I want to apologize to you. I'm so sorry that this has been happening to you. Because I know that they were trying to destroy you to get to me. Think about that. I know they were trying to destroy you to get to me. The Democrats are trying to destroy Hegseth now to get to Trump. It's called a feeding frenzy. The blood in the water. The piranha. One event builds on the other. These are pseudo events. This is what they do. But here's what bothers me the most. It's the Soros, Koch, anti-American, pro-enemy Republicans who claim to support Trump. Some of whom may work for Trump. Who are trying to take out Waltz. And they're outside agitators. Because he's viewed as not sufficiently appeasement-worthy. Enemy-worthy. See, he doesn't think we're the enemy. He thinks Iran is and Qatar is. So he has to be disposed of. How the hell did he slip through in the first place? But what bothers me about this crowd is they're going to do more damage, potentially, to Donald Trump than the Democrats. See, the Democrats are on the outside looking in, but these people are in the inside, pretending to be supporters of the president, pushing their own agenda with the outside agitators. They like to say they're MAGA, make America great again. Of course, they're quoting Reagan from 1984, who they hate too. They hate Reagan, they hate Churchill, they hate Thatcher. Crazy. They're unhinged. They're mentally unwell. They're dim-witted. I think that's the best way to put it. They're dim-witted. Like this guy, Roger Marshall. The Chamber of Commerce candidate. And now I see who he is. He ran in the House against a true blue conservative. Won that seat. He's one of them. Or one of those. But I'm done with him. I'm moving on. So I'm looking at these articles, and it's the Democrats. They now have a campaign to try and take out Hegseth. He's over his head. He's not qualified. He's incompetent. This, that, and the other. And then the Soros, Koch, anti-American, pro-enemy Republicans, or they claim to be MAGA, and they're not. Both inside and outside are trying to take out Waltz. By the way, a true blue combat veteran war hero. The ones trying to take him out, for the most part, are nothing. Their asses have gotten fat from sitting on them, eating, and telling everybody else what to think. Hegseth needs to stay. Waltz needs to stay. That's my view. Or the presidency and the administration will, in fact, be hurt. There will be blood in the water. Blood provided by the Democrats and blood provided by the Soros, Koch, anti-American, pro-enemy cabal. The Quincy Institute types. They claim that they're realists. That's the new word they're throwing around. I believe in a realist foreign policy. What does that mean? They're not telling us anything new, so what does it mean? I'm a realist. Okay, all the rest of us are what? Fictional? Frauds? Fakes? I don't get it. Listen to the arrogance of that one. I'm the realist. So in other words, you can't have a debate because they're the realists. So what are you? Well, I guess I'm fanciful. Foreign policy, ladies and gentlemen, is not supposed to be based on ideology. Oh, yes, love of country. Defend your country. Your country comes first. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm a realist, they say. That's an ideology. Foreign policy is supposed to be based on prudence. Prudence. Now, what does that mean? That means you have your principles, you have your values, you have your beliefs. America is the greatest country on the face of the earth, and we must defend it and protect it. And so, with that as the base, we look at the facts, we look at the circumstances, we look at who we're talking about, an enemy or an adversary or an ally or what have you. And we use our best judgment based on the facts, run through our principles to figure out what to do. You look at history, you look at experience, especially as it applies to the individuals and the countries you're dealing with. So when people say, I'm a realist. What are you, 3 years old? What are you, moron? You're an interventionist. No, you're a neocon. They don't even know what it means, neocon. What they want it to mean is Jew. Jew. So if you're a Christian and you support Israel, you're an Israel firster. If you're a Jew and you support Israel, you're really to be questioned. You're a firster. You're an Israel firster. No, I'm not. I'm an American firster. All my arguments, all my positions, all my books, everything I've ever thought about is America first. I was talking about America first before any of these panty wastes ever used the phrase America first or ever used the phrase make America great again. I worked in that campaign. I'm talking about the Lilliputians, obviously. President Trump has done and is doing an absolutely fantastic job. He truly is. I don't even have to compare him to Biden, just independent of Biden. The job is unbelievable. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for a premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company. You know, Donald Trump, Secretary Noem, Attorney General Bondi, FBI Director Patel, they really are cleaning up our streets. Immigration czar Homan and others, you're just doing a fantastic job. Despite the judges and all the rest of these creeps and cretins. MS-13, this guy was living in Northern Virginia right outside of Washington, D.C. He had weapons, he had explosives. And they got him today. Cut 7, Mr. Producer. Go.
We have been out since about 4:30 this morning. The great men and women of law enforcement have been working on this operation for days and days and probably weeks. Early this morning, one of the top leaders of MS-13 was apprehended. He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C.
Did you give him notice? Did you give him notice? Or did you just sweep him up? Did you give him notice? Did you? Yes or no? Go ahead.
From El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer.
Did you get permission from Judge Boasberg? Did you? Huh? From Judge Boasberg on whether you can remove him from the country? Maybe there's like defendants, other MS-13s. Maybe they want to form a class action suit against the government. Right? That's a federal circuit judge in Washington who said that. Oh, yes. Otherwise, they have less rights than the Nazis. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
This morning, one of the top leaders right here near our nation's capital.
Let's go to Kash Patel. Kadeko.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And we're going to continue to let good cops be cops across this country. President Trump gave us the executive decision to go after and safeguard our communities. General Bondi is our warrior of justice leading that charge. Governor Youngkin, it's an honor to be a partner in this operation with you and U.S. Attorney Siebert. This is the mandate we have. Right now we have an American dying every 7 minutes from a drug overdose. That is a national security crisis we have not seen ever before. We have a woman or child being raped every 6.5 minutes in this country. Yeah. We have a homicide twice an hour. No part of that metric is a safe and secure America. But thanks to the brave leadership of this administration and the folks that you see here, we are returning our communities to safety. As you heard, we took down this morning a top leader of MS-13. That is not done easily. That is done with brilliant law enforcement.
Can you believe what Biden did to this country? I mean, seriously, America. And they're worried about texts. This is why you don't care about the texts. And then Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, cut 9, go.
But most importantly, it's this effort that has been enabled by the Trump administration. President Trump said, get the bad guys. I've been working on this literally for the first 3 years of our administration with little to no help from the senior leadership in the federal government and the Biden administration. On day one, we went to work signing a 287G memorandum. It took us 20 hours to get it done. I was able to deputize our state police and our Department of Correction members to go to work in this task force.
287G, that's the part of the immigration law where local and state law enforcement assist federal law enforcement on capturing and as well as turning over these criminals so they can deal with them and deport them. I'll be right back. This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for a premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company.
The Mark Levin Show, the pool feed for the conservative media. Dive in now. 877-381-3811.
I'm a realist. Really? I'm an American. I told you they were going to come after Trump. That's who they really want. Hegseth, small potatoes, according to them. And the cancer from within that's going after Waltz, this cabal, they're contributing to all of this. And they're power hungry. Excuse me. And so here's Gregory Meeks, another dummy, Democrat out of New York, on CNN yesterday. Tell me who you think he wants to get. Listen to the whole thing. Cut 11, go.
Mr. Hegseth should be resigned or fired immediately. It's an absolute violation of our national security. It puts our pilots at risk. And it is something that we've seen. And then the cover-up afterwards, and sometimes, people say the cover-up is just as bad as the act itself, when in fact Mr. Goldberg was going to treat that confidential information better than these individuals, these secretaries that all were on that call. He wasn't even going to disclose it until they denied it and said that there was nothing there. And once you read it, your eyes, or you hear it, your ears are not lying to you. And I think that President Trump and all of them need to be held accountable.
These people are chomping at the bit to impeach him again. I'm telling you what's on the horizon here, should they win the House. I'm telling you what's on the horizon here, should either Hegseth or Waltz go. The president is in a zone right now. He's making enormous progress on behalf of we the people in the country. We've got to fight these judicial despots. That's getting set up to do now. But the enemies within the administration trying to take out Waltz will do great damage. And they're trying to take out Hegseth, the Democrats, because they want to do great damage. It's almost an admission. See that? We told you about Hegseth. See that? We told you about Waltz. And so this has to be avoided at all costs. I mean, the idea that either of these men should go, the two combat veterans, national security advisors, one defense, one in the White House, is preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. Here's Hakeem Jeffries. Now you'll hear. All you got to do is watch the pattern, because it's not brain surgery. These guys are coordinating this, the entire thing. So first, let's hear Jeffries, the Democrat leader in the House, then Schumer, the Democrat leader in the Senate. Play one after the other, Mr. Producer. Go ahead.
We're in the middle of a fight right now as it relates to Pete Hegseth. He needs to resign or be fired by Donald Trump. We've made that clear across the caucus. And Democrats, I think, showed fight in the Senate hearing on Tuesday and in the House hearing on Wednesday. Our veterans have stood up to push back against this stunning national security breach. That's a fight that we're in right now. Are we on the sidelines? Have we been silent about this scandal?
Plain fact is that if the Russians or Iranians or the Houthis had somehow known about these texts, if someone more nefarious than Mr. Goldberg had been added to the text chain, our troops would have been in danger. The mission would have been compromised. And once he got caught, did Secretary Hegseth take responsibility for his shocking lack of judgment, which is what he should have done? Any upstanding Secretary of Defense would have done that. Did he exhibit the kind of leadership Americans expect from the man who may deploy our troops into battle? From the man who may send our family members, our friends, our neighbors into harm's way? Did he accept that responsibility?
Okay, let's. I can't just wait. Look what they're turning this into, America. Look what they're turning this into. I'm going to address this at length on Life, Liberty, and Levin Saturday in my opening statement. I'm going to turn this whole thing on its head. All the wrong questions are being asked. The entire wrong approach, even by our guys. when they interview Waltz or whatever, they're using the scenarios created by the Democrats. They're using the context created by the Democrats. You got to step back from this and take a real look at it, which is what I'm going to do. That's Life, Liberty, and Levin on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Jim Jordan and Ron DeSantis on Sunday. We're going to have Victor Davis Hanson and Senator David McCormick and Mrs. McCormick. I've never done that before, but it should be a lot of fun. So I hope you'll check in. But we don't take their premises and then start asking questions based on that. That's lazy. It's not smart. Playing right into their hands. Here's the thing. This is the way my mind works. You look at these events. You cover your ears to all the clutter, all the spin, all the static, and you look at them. And you use your own knowledge, your own experience, your own intelligence. And you go through various iterations of what took place. And you ask yourself a number of questions. You're being subjected to propaganda by demagogues. That's not helpful. The media who regurgitate this are doing no better. Even some of our media that ask questions that are based on the premises that are set by our enemies. That's not the way this should be. You should use your smarts. And you'll see how I break this down on Saturday. And I'm saving it for then, not because you got to watch it Saturday, although I hope you do. But it helps when I present it. The graphics are there, and so forth and so on. And you're going to see how ridiculous this is. You're going to see that this is just another Washington hit job from the ruling class. And then you're going to see the Lilliputians who claim that they're supporters of the president, his belief system, MAGA, who would burn them all down, undermine every single one of them, if they can put a pelt on their belt. That would be Waltz. In the case of the Democrats, that would be Hegseth. But for the Democrats pushing Hegseth, they want Trump. For the Lilliputians, they want Waltz, but they will damage Trump. Waltz has been an outstanding national security advisor to this president. He's been an outstanding voice for their positions. And he gives a lot of people comfort when he says certain things, given his own background and experience. Same with Hegseth, given his own background and experience. They're not unqualified. They're highly qualified. They're superb. And the Democrats and the Lilliputians, they want you to believe that they're not. But they are. And we should circle the wagons around them, not because of politics, but because of prudence. Because that's the right thing to do. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
This country was founded on freedom. Freedom from a country that forced us to buy overpriced tea, then try blockading us when we dumped their tea into the ocean. How'd that work out? Well, it's time to throw your overpriced big wireless contract overboard, too. You don't need to pay $100 a month per person just to get a free phone. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, says no to inflated prices and gimmicks. With a qualifying plan of just $45 a month, you can choose a free iPhone 14 or a free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans. And yes, this is for a premium service. Unlimited talk, text, 25 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot at a fraction of the price of the big three. All on America's most dependable 5G network. Get your free iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plans by visiting puretalk.com/Levin today. Switching is easy. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN to claim your free iPhone or Galaxy with a qualifying purchase from Pure Talk. America's wireless company, my wireless company. Couple of things. Always remember, you can always find this program via the podcast, as well as our interviews and specials on YouTube. All you have to do is go to youtube.com and Mark Levin Show, or just search Mark Levin Show on YouTube. It's all there. I have another avenue for you. Maybe you don't like doing YouTube. Go to marklevinshow.com. That's the mothership. That's my website, marklevinshow.com. That'll take you to everywhere and everything. Click on Audio Rewind at the top. Pick your favorite podcast platform. But if you already have a favorite podcast platform, just search Mark Levin Show, and it'll pop up. All of this is free. We decided a long time ago we would use and take advantage of every platform. Older platforms, newer platforms, in-between platforms, and that's what we do. That's why it's very difficult to get an absolute 100% accurate count on the audience, but it's in the millions. Multi-millions. So, there's that. All right. Let's check out this other one, too. So you heard Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. You heard both of them. Now, why would MSNBC go to John Brennan? Completely disreputable, reprobate. Why would they go to him? For anything. Cut 15, go.
Well, that's why I think we need to get to the truth. And I think a first step was made when Senators Wicker and Reid asked the Inspector General of the Pentagon to do a thorough and immediate investigation on this so that we can actually understand what also might be at risk. And then to find out what has been going on in the first 70 days of the Trump administration.
See what I mean? They want to blow this thing up into something that it's not. They want a witch hunt, as President Trump correctly put it. It's amazing. These people lie and cheat, and they steal from the taxpayer. I'm talking about them generally. That's what they do. They spent 4 years covering up for a man who should never have been president, who had the decision to go to war or not. And now they're sitting there lecturing Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Mike Waltz, the other folks. Is this not pathetic? Is it not some kind of a sick joke? Your Secretary of Defense takes a hiatus, goes to the hospital for a week or 10 days, doesn't tell anybody. They don't even know he's gone. What's that all about? You got this guy, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Milley, almost a military takeover. He's telling the Communist Chinese military, his counterpart, don't worry, I'm not going to let Trump attack you or something. What is that? And then we have Biden and Blinken, Sullivan and Milley involved in this horrendous surrender in Afghanistan, killing 13 of our young men and women, our soldiers. And not only that, there's American hostages there. We still don't know how many. This same regime, all Democrats, had an open border where terrorists, spies, criminals, international criminals are coming into the country. And they're telling us that this texting thing is the biggest thing since sliced bread? Seriously? Push back, folks. Don't take this. This is ridiculous. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Yellow. Look at this, Mr. Producer. My goodness. Somebody wake up Roger Marshall. memory.org, Qatar defense minister in past tweets. This is out today. So I'm sure Roger Marshall, he would have like 3 or 4 days to actually read it. We are all Hamas. We must plan how to influence the decision makers in the U.S. This is Roger Marshall to a T. This is a sampling of these posts, some of which were recently deleted from his account, as you can imagine. So they pulled together this guy's tweets, which they're now trying to clean up. That is, Qatar is. But that's today. And they have the perfect senator for it, the blowhard from Kansas, Roger Marshall. Qatar defense minister in past tweets, we are all Hamas. We must plan how to influence the decision makers in the U.S. They've done a hell of a job for it. They certainly have. And I just want the people of Kansas to know you have a senator who is a special pleader for and a mouthpiece for the biggest terrorist funding organization, that is state, in the world. Well, look at the good things they do for us. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Ignore their terrorist activities. I would think, wouldn't you, Mr. Producer, that Kansas can do better than this? I really would think that. So this judge, Boasberg, a.k.a. Bozoberg, a.k.a. hardcore left-wing Democrat, a judicial despot who's doing grave damage, and intentionally so. Somehow he got this case where, in my view, the party doesn't even have standing, where it's demanding that the administration protect all the documents related to the signal messaging. Now, number one, FOIA does not apply to the White House. That's number one. But two, if you're not a party that's damaged, you're just filing FOIA complaints, you get the judge to preserve the records? So this judge, the Associated Press rules, ordered the Trump administration to preserve records of a text message chat in which senior national security officials discuss sensitive details of plans for a U.S. military strike against Yemen's Houthis. This is the article. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg barred administration officials from destroying messages that were sent over the encrypted messaging app Signal earlier this month. Where's this going, Judge? They don't have a right to classified information, this organization, if they have standing at all. So where's this going? So they're harassing the people who are involved in the call in this administration. Let me tell you what this judge is up to. Not only is he trying to cripple this administration, and somehow, as I pointed out, 48 hours ago, these cases are winding up on his desk. But he's trying to character assassinate them. What do I mean by that? He's trying to create scenarios where he can claim he's going to hold them in contempt or does hold them in contempt. There's a nonprofit watchdog, American Oversight, requested the order. But a government official said, we're already doing that because, they're going to have their own investigation. They're going to have their own investigation. They sued this week to ensure that the records are kept in accordance with the Federal Records Act. This just happened. They sue for a protective order? They sue for a protective order? It's incredible. So if the information is classified, this group doesn't get it. But this judge, he's there, baby. Whatever they want, he's going to give them. And that's the problem with this judge. It's a problem with all these clowns, as far as I'm concerned. Do we have that audio, Mr. Producer, of Doug Collins and Caitlin Collins? Cut 17. Meant to get to this yesterday, but we had a very busy show as we do today. I have not listened to this purposely. I want to listen to this with you. But the VA secretary is Doug Collins, former congressman, also veteran. And Caitlin Collins is a low IQ, phony reporter at the Constipated News Network. But she views her role is to attack. Not Biden. She and the others gave cover to Biden. But let's listen in. Go ahead.
Do you believe that a mistake was made here, though, to have this conversation, to add a reporter, and to have it on an unsupported, classified group setting?
Caitlin, as I've just told you, I've just answered the question. I wasn't part of it. And, I'm not going to speculate more than what the president's already talked about and those who've been involved have talked about. But we'd love to talk about the veterans.
Yeah, and I do have questions about the veterans. But given what we saw with the group chat and how this was used, you are a member of the cabinet. You obviously know these other members, several of them who were in there. Is this typical for the cabinet to have conversations over Signal? Is this something that you use?
Well, Caitlin, Sen, you undoubtedly do not want to talk about the VA. I have a question as VA Secretary. As Cabinet, I want to ask you, because I've been curious about this, because my job is to take care of veterans, and I would like to know why CNN is hostile to veterans, especially one in Florida, where you just had a $5 million defamation suit taking offense at a veteran who was trying to help people. In fact, one of your employees actually said, we're going to nail him. I have a question for you, Caitlin. Is that employee still employed? Are you really concerned about veterans? So if we don't want to talk about veterans now, you want to talk about everything else, I'd like to hear from CNN as the veteran cabinet secretary why CNN seems to have a problem with veterans.
Well, Mr. Secretary, respectfully, my question was about whether or not you as a member of the cabinet use this. And respectfully, I'm conducting the investigation. And I do have a lot of questions for you on Veterans Affairs.
You're not conducting an investigation. What are you, a joke? She's conducting an investigation. She's asking a cabinet official who wasn't even involved. And she knows that. She's playing the game, and he nails her. He comes prepared. That's the way you do an interview on CNN or MSNBC if, in fact, you're even going to waste your time and show up. Go ahead.
Okay, what you want to do is you want to talk about a subject. What you want to do is talk about a subject I've already answered. And if you want to continue this like this, that's fine. But there are VA employees who are working very hard. There are veterans who get their care from the VA, and they get their benefits from the VA. And it does me no good to speculate on something that I've already asked and answered. So I've asked and answered your question. Why don't you answer mine? Are you still, is this person still employed who said they were going to nail one of my veterans, who you had to do a $5 million award from a jury because of defamation, and then you settled the case? Answer my question.
Respectfully, sir, I'm asking the questions here.
I love it. Beautiful. That's a patriot. Not like this guy, Roger Marshall. What do you have against Qatar? You dumb bastard. But Doug Collins, hero. Good man. All right, they found one of these domestic terrorists. The Las Vegas police, congratulations to them. And all the other police forces involved, who threw Molotov cocktails at these Tesla vehicles and caused them to set on fire. I went to the source, the Las Vegas Review-Journal. A man police said set multiple Tesla vehicles on fire using Molotov cocktails has been arrested. Faces federal charges, authorities said today. Paul Hayan Kim, 36, was booked into the Clark County Detention Center a day earlier on a total of 15 counts, including suspicion of arson, destroying or injure real or personal property of another, value of $5,000 or greater, possessing, disposing of a fire device, all felonies, misdemeanors, discharging a firearm into a vehicle. Pam Bondi said the Department of Justice, boy, she's really grabbed that place by the horns, hasn't she? Department of Justice has been clear. Anyone who participates in the wave of domestic terrorism targeting Tesla properties will suffer severe legal consequences. We will continue to find, arrest, and prosecute these attackers until the lesson is learned. I hope she throws the book at them, and then I hope the judge does the same. Kim was assigned a public defender, said he may be able to hire a private attorney. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jacob Apokaloski and Attorney Patrick Cashman of the National Security Division's Counterintelligence Section. They're prosecuting the case. If Kim is convicted, he faces 10 years in prison for the unlawful possession of an unregistered firearm. Well, you would think the Democrats would go nuts about this. Unregistered firearm. That's all right. The target was Tesla, you see. and up to 20 years in prison for the arson charge. Now, video footage provided by the Metropolitan Police Department showed that around 2:45 a.m. March 18. So in other words, under cover of dark, a person dressed in black damaged at least 5 Teslas in a parking lot. Yeah, I'll say. He then fled the scene in what authorities said was a black Hyundai Elantra. Do those things go fast, Mr. Producer? Don't you really got to hit the gas for like 12 and a half seconds to get it really cooking? Listen to this. Kim shot a gun at his security cameras and include multiple Teslas. Set 3 vehicles on fire with spray-painted resist across the facility. You know. Yes, this has hallmarks of terrorism. Now he has very loose ties, they write, to social media groups, such as the Communist Party USA. You know, that might upset Bernie Sanders. Revolutionary Communist International, Hidden Palestine and Palestine Action. Ooh. Assistant Sheriff Dory Corrin said that would be part of law enforcement's investigation. He also follows the Socialist Rifle Associations. Excuse me? You're not a member of that, are you, Rich? The Socialist Rifle Association's page on Instagram. There's a post of Kim training with firearms on October 2018. The Reno Socialist Rifle Association's Instagram page. But there's a lot of freaks out there. During a news conference last week, authorities said the damage had some of the hallmarks of terrorism. Yeah, we call that Molotov cocktail. You know where that name comes from, Molotov. Molotov was one of the early communist revolutionaries with Lenin and so forth, and he was one of Stalin's closest lieutenants, one of the few who lived. And he would eventually work with Khrushchev to overthrow Stalin. It's believed now that Stalin was poisoned, died at the age of, 56 or something. He was going around killing everybody around him. Now, he did that a lot, but at this point, these guys didn't. They killed him first. Let's see. We will prosecute this case to the fullest extent of the law, they say. I hope so. Well, they solved this pretty quickly. There's a lot of cameras there. They were tracking the suspect, using the surveillance footage and the license plate readers to track his vehicle. Let this be a warning to all of you communist domestic terrorists who hate Tesla because you hate Elon Musk. They will find you. They will find you. And as long as Judge Boasberg is not involved, you will serve time in prison. And if you're an illegal immigrant, you'll have your ass kicked out and you'll wind up in that El Salvadorian prison. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
All right. We are going to take some calls. We haven't done that because we've had some great guests over the course of the program, but we will do that. Did you know Medicaid misspent $4.3 billion in duplicate payments? Do you know that we would know none of this but for the election of Donald Trump? We wouldn't know any of this but for the tremendous work of Elon Musk and the Doge guys. I mean, they're finding $5 billion here, $50 billion there, $100 billion there. It's just incredible, is it not? And quite. I mean, the other party, they just, it's okay by them. It's okay by them. And it's not okay with us. So far they're defending Venezuelan gang members, Hamas supporting aliens. They're supporting maybe up to $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. The vast abuse of our tax dollars and fraud. It's okay. They're not contributing to the battle. They're not contributing to uncovering any of this. At no time has a single Democrat said to Elon Musk, good job. 2 words, good job. Not once. Because this is their edifice, and they don't want it touched. And they know once you start going, you may not stop. They don't care if these programs work or not. I mean, I'm not even playing you the clip of Schumer where it goes on and on, where Trump and the Republicans are against, babies and baby formula and old people having canes. It was just not exactly that, but it was sick. So if you're trying to cut out waste, fraud, and abuse, somehow you're against the people. This is the same song and the same dance every time with these people, every single time. None of this would be necessary. None of it. But for the fact that in the 4 years preceding, they did nothing. Nothing. And they want to take over the House because they want to take out Donald Trump. That's it. It's all these people know. It's also all they care about, their own power. And always keep that in mind, too, if you would. It's very important. Okay. We have any callers now, Mr. Producer? I'm losing my voice. You sent it already? Okay. Sorry, folks. I can feel it going downhill. Don't worry. I'm okay. Let's take some calls. Oh, yeah, here they are. Full board. I think we always have a full board. Let me see if I can see this. Let's just go down the top here. Let's go to Greg, San Francisco, California, the great KSFO. Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks, Mark. Really appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, buddy.
This whole thing with the signal, excuse me,
Yeah.
I've got a frog too.
Yes.
My first job in the Bay was working at a government contracting company, and we dealt with signal intelligence. Every branch of the military and every branch of the government deals in encrypted communications.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And Signals is one of the ones they use, and it's accepted.
Yes, it's approved, right. So the person that should be being put over the coals right now is the stupid reporter that released the information. This was encrypted data. This was private conversation between these people and the government.
That's an important point. Very good point, Greg. If I had my new book done, I'd hand you a book, but I don't. Thank you, buddy. We'll be right back.
Nobody says it better than Mark Levin.
I'll go with what Mark Levin said, because nobody could say it better.
Call in now at 877-381-3811.
I should have brought my magnifying glass. So small, this stuff. Steve, Brooklyn, New York, on the Mark Levin app. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. It's a pleasure to speak with you. My question is, how is Pete
Doesn't he
Hegseth,
sound like Steve Hilton? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
not British from Brooklyn, though. How is Pete Hegseth, who was not the moderator of the chat, and the journalist did not identify himself, how is Secretary Hegseth supposed to know that an unauthorized person is there listening in? Why would he have any expectation?
You're 100% right. I don't know what they're attacking him for other than they want to attack him. I think what they're saying is the information that he provided on that signal. I just want the American people to understand signal has been used by our spook agencies, by the military, at the White House. It is the usual go-to form of communication. That's what it is. There are other forms too, but this is perfectly legitimate. And so your point is well taken. And wouldn't it be helpful if the journalists would push back with some of these demagogues and say, wait a minute, he's giving them a rundown about what's going to happen. It's on signal. Why are you calling for him to resign? Why are you attacking him? Even in the case of Waltz, as a practical matter, he didn't set up the call. He didn't physically, handle which numbers would be in and which numbers wouldn't be in. He's taken hits for whoever the staffer was who screwed up, if that was the case. unless it's more devious than that. I don't mean for Waltz, I mean for others. And so even in his situation, now Trump should be held to account. These people are lunatics. We shouldn't take them seriously. We should challenge them, confront them, and defeat them. Civilly, of course. That's what we do. That's not what they do. But you're right on. Like, what the hell are you attacking Hegseth for? All right, Steve, thanks for your call, my friend. Let's go to John, Cheyenne, Wyoming on XM Satellite. John, how are you?
I'm very well, and thank you very much. I've learned a whole bunch from you.
Thanks, John. Thank you, sir.
I just have a question that I can't answer, and no one seems to be able to. I do not understand why people hate the Jewish people. I've read the Bible. I've studied things, and I thought maybe you could give me a reference. But everybody I ask who I think is very well educated, they don't have an answer either. So I'm relying on you.
I don't know that there is a simple answer, but I can give you some answer. When you look at the Middle East as an example, you've got Islamists who believe that they are ordered by the Quran and Muhammad to either force conversions into Islam and force them not just into Islam, but the way they practice Islam. You know, there's a major split in Islam between the Shiites and the Sunnis. And often they're busy killing each other too, but that for another day. So the point is, the Jews are the first. They're the first. They need to go. Then the Christians are the next. Because the Jews and the Christians, Christianity is basically born out of Judaism in some respects. Jesus and so forth. And so the Jews have to go. The Holy Land has to be destroyed. The Christians have to go. They have to be destroyed. Western civilization has to be destroyed because Western civilization and this ideology are incompatible. The Jews are the smallest in number. I mean, Christianity is a big religion. There's a lot of people all over the world. Especially after Hitler, there's probably no more than 13, 14 million Jews on the face of the earth. On the face of the earth. So, Judaism, Abraham, although they claim Abraham too, Moses, Jacob, you can go down the whole thing, has to be eliminated from the face of the earth. And then, of course, Christianity. But Western civilization, too. That's why they say Israel and then the United States. Western civilization. So this is an ideology for the Islamists, not Muslims generally. I'm talking about the Islamists. That's throwback. They didn't go through the usual evolution. That's why in the United States, other than the importation of these Hamas supporters, you could have Muslims living with Jews, Jews living with Christians, everybody living with atheists or agnostics or Buddhists or Hindu. Nobody cares. They just don't care. As long as I can practice my faith, it's like liberty. As long as I can be free, I'm not going to get in your face, so don't get in my face. Look at the First Amendment to the Constitution. It enshrines the whole notion of the Declaration of Independence. The free exercise of religion, but you're not going to impose your religion on society either. That's right. No problem at all. That's not the case, is it? In the Middle East with a lot of these Islamist regimes. They do impose it, that there is no distinction between Islam and politics. Our friend Zuhdi Jasser, who's been a Muslim reformist for decades, a very patriotic American. He served in the Navy and his family escaped Syria. He calls it political Islam. Political Islam. You don't have political Christianity in the sense that you're setting up Christian states. You don't have Christian Judaism. Yes, there's Israel, the homeland, but that's not the point. You have Arabs who can live there. You have Muslims. They live there. You people, Christians can live there because they embrace this whole idea of the Enlightenment in Western society. So the Jews have to go. Now, an interesting question is also, okay, let's put the Islamists aside. What is it about what took place in Germany and so forth and so on? Let's be honest about this. Let's be honest about this, John. Jews may make up 13, 14, 15 million people in the world, some tiny fraction of a fraction. But they outperform their numbers when it comes to science, when it comes to technology, when it comes to business, when it comes to all these things. And so there is an element of that, too, where people who are dissatisfied with their lives, people who are not accomplished, people who think and get jealous of, wait, but for that Jew over there, I would be doing that. There's a lot of that, too. So I hope I've conveyed it as best as I can. I think...
I would like to say one thing, if I might.
Yeah.
Because I was reading the history of Spain, talks about 711 AD, and they happen to have a quote from the Quran in there that said, "You must spread the word of Islam by fire and sword into the land of the unsubjugated." That's everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's everybody.
And in that way, that's why I say today there's a fusion of Islamism and Marxism. What does Marx say in the Communist Manifesto and elsewhere? He says there's going to be a period of despotism, but we must destroy every single, not just political, but social connection to the past, whether it's parents and child, whether it's church and parishioners, whatever it is, it has to go. It must be destroyed. That's what these Islamists are saying, the same thing. So in that they are together. That's who's marching in our streets at Columbia and so forth and so on. I call it the fusion of Marxism and Islamism.
Exactly. But you never hear of any Muslim who writes a letter to the editor for any kind of opinion saying that they're against it.
Well, there are some that I happen to know some, as a matter of fact, Zudi, but I don't see that from many imams, if you mean. I don't see from many imams. It would be nice. And I would certainly give them a platform, no question about it, but few and far between. Well, let me tell you, John, great call from Cheyenne, Wyoming. God bless you, my friend. Appreciate it very much listening on XM Satellite. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Program's almost over. What's going on here? Oh, yes. All right, Mr. Producer. I just had it. Hold on, America. I don't know. I don't know that we'll get to this, Rich. I'm trying my best. Okay. Let us go ahead and take a call. Let's go to Dan, Lockport. I think it's Rockport, Illinois. XM Satellite. How are you, sir?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Good, thank you.
One quick comment and then one quick point. My comment is, where is this major concern at about our national security with these texts when this balloon that floated across our country was not a concern until it made its way into the ocean, then they decided to do something with it.
Great point.
And also, you need to, when you invite Democrats on your show, maybe they'll come if you tell them you'll tie 90% of your brain behind your back to keep it even.
I don't think Rush could get them either. But we always tell them, I'm just a little radio host. What are you afraid of? Please, come on. They won't come on. And the rhinos won't come on either. They just won't. And you know what? We're used to it now. We do our thing. We go ahead. And to be honest, I understand why they don't want to come on, because they just can't deal with it. And it's too bad. It's too bad, because I want to expose it and expose them. But that's the way it works. All right, my brother. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. That's Dan. Let's go to Marianne, East Northport, New York, on the Mark Levin app. How are you, Marianne?
I'm well. How are you, Mark?
Okay.
I just want to thank you for all you do, and you are an American treasure.
Aren't you sweet? Thank you.
No, it's the truth. So I'm a little nervous, but
don't be.
I'm going to try to, speak clearly. I don't understand why the Republicans don't speak about all the things that were done. The spy balloon traversing the United States, again, Afghanistan, the invasion in the South, and all the people that have suffered or died because of them.
Hillary's classified emails where she had a server in her bathroom, for God's sakes. Right.
So Republicans should bring that up and point out the hypocrisy of the left.
No, they always have to do I have a point here. This shouldn't have happened. Stop living and projecting from the scenarios that they create. This was my point earlier, and you're going to see on Saturday's program on Life, Liberty, and Levin how I handle this, how I address this in the opening statement. I just pull back from this narrative, and I have a completely different perspective. I think you're going to find it very, very interesting. All right, my friend, you're very sweet. Thank you for that call. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with me. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the men and women of the United States of America. What would we do without you? God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful evening.